Now, we've been talking about, our politics and how our politics is evolving, and the conversations that take place between, within those hallowed rooms of, for example, State House and other big offices. Somebody who was there for very many years is now joining us for this conversation, our next conversation. Njiru is an author. He's a former press secretary who worked in the Jomo Kenyatta administration and the Daniel Arap Moi administration. He's our guest. Good morning, Zay.
Good morning, Latif.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Karibu sana. That's a hot seat of the situation.
Asante. Nashukuru.
I know you're used to hot seats and seeing red phones. Here we don't have a red phone.
Yes.
But we have a hot seat.
Yes.
And the mic is red.
Yes.
Karibu.
Asante.
City will welcome you with the day's proverb.
Well, let me just say, first of all, it's a great honor to have you in the studio. You are a man who has traversed these waters that we're traversing for a very, very long time. And you've understood things that many of us hope to understand. And that's part of the reason why you're here, so that you can share some of these experiences with us and with our audience. The whole of this week, our proverbs are going to be from the Republic of Chad. The palm tree that encourages birds to nest in it should not cry over shattered leaves.
The palm tree that encourages birds to nest on it should not cry when it encounters
shattered leaves.
Shattered leaves. What do you think this proverb is telling us, Lee?
Yes. When you invite problems into a home, into a life, do not complain if you are shattered by those problems. In Kiswahili wanasema muiba wa kujidunga haina uchungu.
Muiba wa kujidunga ni wewe mwenyewe tu. You take it, you prick yourself.
Yes.
Wewe ndio umetabiri.
And then start crying.
Why did I?
Okay, that's a good one. It's a good way of looking at it from.
It's a very appropriate way of looking at it.
The Chadians.
Yes.
So Lee, you authored a book, and the book is actually doing well, isn't it?
Yes.
The President's Pressman, a memoir by Njiru.
Yes.
And you look into your journey and looking at what has happened during this 10 years of these presidents, Kenyatta into Moi, through the administrations, public communication, and how they were, making sure that what they are working on is communicated to the public. Now, as you sit back, you even went and worked as an aide to the President Moi when he retired. Now, as you look back and you're looking at our politics, you've been there, you've seen the politicians come, meet with the president, go. You've seen the president summon politicians, come, they talk, they go. We are seeing some of those who are younger then are now in the top positions of leadership. And you said, let's have a conversation about political cousins.
Yes.
And the future of this country. It comes to political cousins. Who are political cousins, Lee?
Now, political cousins. First of all, when I wrote the book, one of the subjects I discussed was about the capricious nature of politics. First of all, the first rule of joining politics is saying goodbye to the truth.
Rule number one.
Yes.
You join politics, truth is left there, you move.
Yes, you say goodbye to the truth. Because politics is not rigid. Politics is malleable. It is like the neck of a goose. It's malleable. But then, even though it is malleable, it tends to move towards one direction, the stomach. Number two, all politicians, all of them, are political cousins. And they have got the same diet. They have got a common diet, the electorate. That is the common diet of all politicians. You are their food. Not even politicians, even the superpowers. What do I mean by that? One time in 1990, I went for a study tour in England and Wales. One of the people I was meeting was the then head of the Commonwealth Office, CFO, Commonwealth and Foreign Office. His name was Stuart Innes. So during our meeting, I asked him, why are the Western countries so hard on the developing world? And because Stuart Innes was a little inebriated, he told me, as a person, your first instinct is self-preservation. And you are not supposed, for your own survival, you are not supposed to have mercy on food. Because if you have mercy on food, you will be permanently ill. Because a person who is malnourished is permanently ill. So Africans are our food. So we give them something for survival. So politicians also, they are like a superpower in a country. Their food is the electorate. If they have mercy on you, they will be malnourished. And if you are malnourished, you are permanently ill.
Where? So you're stuck in this thing. Now, because you said we start the journey of you become a politician, so you decide, me and the truth, we are parting ways here. And we move.
Yes.
Is there a specific, special breed of people who can easily do that? Are we saying that politicians, are sort of hardwired from birth? It's in their DNA that for you, dropping the truth is nothing difficult. So you find it easy. Drop the truth, lose your conscience, go. And you know you're very well, this is who you're going to be feeding on.
You see, they followed the theory of Joseph Goebbels, who was the chief propagandist of Adolf Hitler, that if you tell a lie many, many times, it becomes the truth. Yes, that was the philosophy of Joseph Goebbels, the chief propagandist of Adolf Hitler. Yes.
You keep repeating it until it will become the truth.
The truth, yes.
So, but what I'm asking is, do you think there's a certain character trait that is unique to some people?
Yes.
Some people are actually predisposed to lies, so then they become very good politicians.
There are some people who have got that predilection of telling lies every day without even blinking. Yes. And you see, beware.
And those become the best politicians.
They become the best politicians. You see, the truth is not palatable. No, lies are very sweet. They are very palatable. You remember, even when you are quoting a woman, you tell her she has got very good legs, and you don't have any use of the legs. The only legs which are sweet are that of chicken.
Now let's start it to the electorate. Okay. Are there moments, even in history, when the electorate realize that they're actually the food? And what do they do about it?
Yes, they realize, but then there's nothing they can do about it. And you remember, I think in 1950s, around 1955, 56, I'm not quite sure, there was an American called Andrew Stevenson. He was campaigning to be the president of the U.S. And then one old woman in a public rally told him, Andrew, right-thinking members of the public will elect you. He told that lady, no, I need the majority. That is why people do not go campaigning in Lavington, in Muthaiga, because those are very few people. You go to Mokoro Kwanjenga, you go to Kware, you go to Korogocho. Yeah, because those are not right-thinking members of the public.
Don't target the right-thinking members of the public.
Yeah. You do not target them.
What makes people...
And they are very few.
What makes people not be right-thinking? Is it because of the condition that they find themselves in?
Yes, conditioned, yeah. Because you see, when somebody is in trouble, they believe anything. If you tell them, one day when Museveni became the president of Uganda, 1986, we went there for a meeting. The country was so battered under the leadership of Idi Amin. People are desperate. And then we were in a meeting, and then there was a guy writing for Reuters called David Musoke. He called me, Lee, how are you? How is Kenya? I said, it is fine. So one girl there, called Julie Gipola, she was working for Radio Uganda. She had my name. So she came casually and greeted me. So you are Lee Njiru? I said, yes, I am. I would like to come to Kenya. I said, you are welcome. Anytime. Come and enjoy our generosity in Kenya, which she knows no about. Mm-hmm. Within 3 days, she was here, and I was joking. I had to part with the 10,000 shillings, yeah, for her to do shopping and go back to Uganda. So don't joke with a hungry person. They will believe anything. Yeah. And I said I will never joke with a hungry person.
Come and experience our generosity.
Yes.
Which knows no bounds.
Mr. Generosity was speaking. And he was taken seriously.
So now,
at his word.
That one is a microcosm. It represents what the common people, how gullible they are because of poverty, because of hopelessness. If they see an iota of hope, they'll go for it. They can even kill each other.
One of the things that I've always found interesting with politicians is a simple question, why they do what they do. And why this question arises, in many instances, we've had this discussion. Before an individual enters the political arena, you know them as one person. They enter the political arena, they change before your eyes. If they happen to ascend to the position where they are a minister, goodness gracious me, now the change is phenomenal. This is something you witnessed over and over and over.
Yes. Power.
Yes.
And fortune. Have got a great, immense destructive potential. First of all, they destroy your humility. It destroys your sobriety. It destroys friendship between you, your relatives, and even your friends. It robs you of sobriety. It robs you of humility. Fortune and power are capricious. In fact, you need the wisdom of a water engineer so that you know how to reticulate it. Otherwise, it will lead you into very dangerous situations. If you remember in central, Equatorial Guinea, there used to be a president called Mashias Nguema.
Yes.
That a case study. When he became the president of Equatorial Guinea, he changed his name. Instead of His Excellency, he was called the National Miracle. That is how capricious fortune and power can be.
As you speak, I'm reminded of Bokassa.
Yes.
Who was president.
Jean Bandero Bokassa.
Yes, and how he decided being president was not enough.
Yes.
He wanted to become an emperor.
An emperor, yes.
Yes.
And that throne, golden throne.
Yes.
Yes.
That emperorship lasted 2 years.
Yes.
And that was the end of it.
Yes.
And the end of his ruling.
Yes.
Yes.
In the many years, Lee, that you sat and you watched politicians, you were watching the two presidents Kenyatta and then Moi for many years, and you were watching how leaders were coming to him and how he was interacting with these leaders. Did you ever see some people who felt and thought that they were politicians, the way you've described a politician to us? They thought that they were politicians, but they actually did not know that this is the true definition of a politician. People who believed or who thought that, they have gotten into politics, but they had forgotten to leave the lie behind. They had forgotten that their fodder is the electorate. They had forgotten that they needed to just keep sprinkling something small to the electorate so that they can eat the electorate. Did you ever come across such people?
Can you repeat your question?
People who did not know that for you to be a politician, you need to be a big liar and that your meal is your electorate.
Yes.
In other words, people who came there as honest politicians.
Yes, it's even if you come into politics as an honest man, politics is contagious. That disease, you will catch that disease from other politicians. Very many.
That's a given.
I saw very many of them. Yeah, they caught the disease. They go there believing that they'll be, and you see, the problem also emanates from the electorate, because once a person is elected into parliament, you see, members of the public will flock into his homestead from as early as 6. And even they haven't got the audacity of asking, why is he asleep at this time? And you see, you have got the right to sleep. Sometimes the electorate also, they contribute in making politicians who they are. During Moi's time, one person would come to the gate, just one. And then another person comes, another one comes, and then when they attend people, they would tell lies to the security people that a group of professionals are here. And they came individually. Now that they are 10 now, they give themselves a tag, which is threatening. Like telling the president, if you do not see us, professionals will not vote for you. So he would allow them in. And I have also seen even churchmen. They come carrying Bibles on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday. And in full church regalia, holding a Bible. And you see now, they raise the Bible so that the president can see it properly. Direct line of vision. It's like telling the president, if you do not give me money, I'll tell God to destroy you. Because why would a bishop come to State House on a Tuesday wearing a full regalia and carrying a Bible? And instead of holding a Bible properly, he has to hold it here so that the president can see the back where it is written in the Holy Bible. It's kind of a subtle way of threatening the president. I used to see university students. They would come to State House, and then, we used to put security men among them for protection. And then the leader of the students would start to introduce them. So he introduced a Sergeant Sakamba as the treasurer. So Moi looked back and told me, do you see that? I said, yeah, because Moi knew the sergeant. So even members of the public, they contribute to to the behavior of politicians. Yeah. Sergeant Moli. He said, this is Kamau, our treasurer. Then he woke up and then he bowed. And then the president told me, did you see that? Yeah. Because they just collect the people and say they are students. Yeah. You see, even the people themselves, the electorate, they contribute to it. Yes.
Njiru has graced us on our birthday, on our 5th birthday. He is the former press secretary for Mzee Jomo Kenyatta and Mzee Daniel Arap Moi, who worked in those state houses. He has authored a book. It's called The President's Pressman, a memoir. Someone is asking, hey, I want to read that book. Yes, you better. You better look for the book. He's here today to tell us about political cousins. He's telling us all politicians, same DNA. They are cousins. When you look at one and think, oh, this one is better than the other one. If you look at today's politics, just looking at the last couple of months, so there's been this great agitation by the younger population on greater accountability from their government. And this feeling of frustration that the people that came and campaigned just 2.5 years ago have gotten into office, whether in the executive or in the legislature at national or county level, but they appear to be doing their own things, which are completely disconnected from what the people wanted. And there is that feeling of discontentment among the population. And then you look at the political class, and the response to it is what again has become a topic of conversation, appearing to be coming together so they can protect their turf. You said they're political cousins. Are you surprised by what you're seeing politically right now in Kenya?
I am not surprised. I live in the rural areas. I just came from Nakuru yesterday, just for this interview, for this conversation. One of the biggest problems we have in Kenya is the system of education. This is not the 1960s and 1950s when we were in school. In fact, we are being prevailed upon by the military to not to go for A-levels, to join the military. In fact, Barclays Bank, Standard Bank, National Green Dress Bank, they used to come to Kangaroo School, try to tell us, please, come and work for us. Now, if you have a degree in geography, a degree in history, nobody wants to hear that nonsense about Vasco da Gama, Ferdinand Magellan, Marco Polo, Walter Raleigh. I have got a resort, and I have recreational gardens. I have mercy on so many children who are brought there by their parents to celebrate degrees in history, HR. Those ones mean nothing now. Now, I have seen children come to me who have been tammacking for 10 years since they left university. Look at it this way, Latiba and the city. In the counties, all MCs have got cars. They need mechanics. Television sets they have. They have modern toilets. They need plumbers. They need electricians because their fringes are being broken every now and then. Now, the people who have money are the people who have gone to even a village polytechnic. Unless the system of education changes drastically in this country, this is a time bomb we have. Remember the sayings of Karl Marx, that you have nothing to lose except your chains. It is the same thing. You have nothing to lose except your miserable life. If life is abundant, then to hell with it. Unless we change the system of education, we are doomed. I'm in the rural areas every day. I always see the desperation. During my high school days, I read a book called The Chrysalids by a writer called John Wyndham. What caught my attention, and even it seared my brain, up to now I remember it, is about a girl who was sitting on a rock with eyes open, looking but seeing nothing. That is where we are. Children who are looking and seeing nothing. And that's a very, very dangerous situation where people want to get rid of their hopeless life. Mm-hmm. That's where we are. In fact, the problem is real. It is with us. And we cannot wish it away. And our politicians should know that there is power in humility. The Pope is humble. He's not a small man. I look at Mother Teresa from Albania. She was so humble. But that did not compromise her power. She met every president in the republic, in the world, if she needed to. I do not know who teaches our politicians that you have to flaunt wealth, that you have, it is sickening. Mm. They have to change. They have to change. Because our children are watching.
Do you think they got the
And
message?
you know, the system of education, it is not the design of our children. It is the design of the grown-ups. So, what did the proverb say? That if you invite those birds there and your twigs get broken,
don't cry.
Don't cry. These politicians have invited this system of education upon this country. So, if it breaks their wings, if it destroys them, if it consumes them, they are the authors of the problem.
Do you think they're getting it? When you look at the reaction, look at the reaction when the youth came out to protest and the response from the politicians and the political class. Do you think they understood the message?
Ever since George Orwell wrote that book, The Animal Farm, and during the French Revolution, that queen, Antoinette, if you don't have bread, eat cake. These people have got such thick craniums. Even if you try to drill sense into them, they don't just get it. You know, they need the baptism of fire. Because the writing is on the wall. They can't smell the coffee. Who is going to teach them? You see, there's a proverb that if a chicken strays into the bush and a mongoose runs after that chicken, the owner of the chicken chases the mongoose. And then he has to sit down with the chicken. Why did you go there? Now, I want to tell these politicians, we are trying to restrain the Gen Z by talking to them. But then now, because now there is a lull, we have to ask you, why did you go there? If you go there once again,
you're on your own.
You're on your own. City Muga's proverb will apply.
You invite the birds. Don't make noise about it.
Yes.
You know, I'm actually having a good time just listening to what you're saying, so that even the questions I have in my head seem to just float away. What is this incessant need that politicians seem to have in not speaking the truth? You said it is hard. Is it more difficult to speak the truth? Or is it that you have never bothered to accustom yourself to speaking the truth, so then it becomes hard?
I need to repeat to you.
Yes.
That power and fortune,
Yes.
are potentially destructive. You must be very careful when you've got fortune and power. It corrupts, or the two corrupt. They rob you of your sobriety. They rob you of your humility. You think you are the national miracle. And Ferdinand Marcos, you know what happened?
Yes.
Tunisia, you know what happened?
Yes.
Yes. Because patience is elastic. You can pull it far, but it goes to a point where it says no further.
Which brings me to the question.
There's a breaking point.
Yes.
Even elastics have
Yes.
got a breaking point.
They do. They
Yes.
do. They
Yes.
do.
Yes.
Every leader on this planet, or anyone who has aspired to a high position in politics, always have advisors. Advisors.
Yes.
I would have assumed that if somebody has advisors, they are the people who might actually help, perhaps limit the drunkard nature that power brings upon you, or that they would induce sobriety, because it is you, it is the leader who selects the advisors.
Yes. I remember during the time, Moi was not a perfect leader, but he had advisors. For example, whenever we went overseas, let's say London, America, Japan, he would go with all of the men, like Molo Motisia, Peter Monichelaga, the mayor of Kamparanet, Nganga Kehonge, businessman from Naivasha, Kariuki Chotara, Ezekiel Bangetuny, and such like. Even Ketch from South Nyanza, Elisha Ketch from South Nyanza. Now people are always up in arms. What are these men, all of the men, these old geezers going to do with Moi in London? It's useless, wasting money. So one time we were in London, Hilton. Moi called me to his room, so we were sitting. So he told me, I have heard people complaining that I'm bringing Molo Motisia, bringing Kariuki Chotara, Ezekiel Bangetuny. But what they forget is that when we go to Buckingham Palace, I go with Minister Kalonzo Musyoka as foreign minister. Kalonzo Musyoka is the same age as my daughter Jennifer, born 1952. Now, when we come from Buckingham Palace and official duties, I have to sit down alone in my suite. When you people go to Soho, go and drink and play mischief all over London, who should I live with? And then he told me, history is not optical. You cannot stand on Kenyatta International Convention Center and see 1940. But I can discuss 1940 with Molo Motisia. I can discuss 1940 with Bangetuny. I can discuss 1939 during the breakout of the Second World War with Bangetuny, because he saw service in Burma, in Penang. So you people are professionals in matters governance, matters foreign policy, matters foreign relations. But these people, they play their part. Because you remember, in most of our cultures, like Gemma culture, of which I am one, there were no absolute monarchs. Everything was by consensus. Everything was by consensus in our communities. There was no absolute chief who would hold the sway over the entire population. There were councils of elders. So he was telling me, this is my council of elders. Yeah. We can talk with the Kalonzo about the collapse of communism as a central ideology. But with these old men, we talk about people, about governance, about the traditional cultures, our values, and what holds our people together. And you see, again, in ruling a people, the priority is to make sure that people are happy. When the people start grumbling, you lose it. So advisors are a must. But if you sit with the drinking friends, drinking buddies, when you are getting lost, and of course, all of the people were well conversant with the African proverbs. And you know, African proverbs, City and Eric, those are, they are like capsules. They are a distillation of cultural wisdom, traditional wisdom. And you know, they are packaged in such a succinct manner. They are even poetic sometimes, for ease of remembrance. Look before you leap. But now, who teaches these people proverbs? And you know, proverbs, don't play with them. In fact, children in our schools should be taught proverbs. What do they mean? You do not regret when you are going. You regret when you are coming back. When you take clippers, going to shave people, make sure you are not shaven instead. That's the problem we have. You think advisors are boys of your age. You come to ruin. But don't say, we have not told you. In fact, when I meet people, I tell the leaders, make sure that nobody in Kenya should become a refugee. There is nothing as bad as becoming a refugee in another country. I remember General Tito of Uganda, 1985, during the Uganda peace talks. He told Moi that if you become a refugee at an old age, you run mad. And you become a refugee as a child, you age very fast and you age very haphazardly. Yes, that's what I would tell leaders. Make sure that nobody becomes a refugee. Even, why do you want to accumulate so much money? Why do you need to be a multi-billionaire? Just have enough. In fact, the biggest investment a leader should have is love from the people. Yes. Even if you earn $2 million shillings a month, that's enough for you. Yeah. Why do you want to overeat?
You know, we had a guest here called Herman Manyora, and he was quoting something which was ascribed to the Caesars. Every time the Caesars had a triumphant entry into Rome, when they'd come from their many conquests, there was a fundamental requirement that there would be a slave. Slave because a slave had orders and would obey. And when a slave could be killed and there'd be no consequence. Now this slave had a difficult job. His job was to whisper to the ears of Caesar, "You are but a man. You are but a man." Because that triumphant entry, the whole of Rome would be welcoming you. You've been victorious. You brought Rome glory. Conquest was glory then. And I think they had learned. Remember, the Romans had even had a Senate, and the Senate was supposed to represent the people. They had understood that this, having a Caesar, having a leader, can be harmful. So they made sure that this was at that moment when it is bound to get to your head, there's this person just whispering into your ears, "You are but a man. You are but a man." I think that's somewhere along the line, leaders forget that they're just but simple human beings.
Yes, I told you about the national miracle, Mashiach Ngwema.
Do such leaders actually listen to advice?
As soon as they ascend to power, they become impervious to reason because they think they are national miracles.
How then do you hold a leader accountable? Because yes, there's the old times where you think you've risen because of what you are, of what you've become, and then there's the modern day reality where leaders are finding it very hard to actually accept that they are servants of the people, that they are only holding power for the people, on behalf of the people.
You see, we need very angry people to always remind our leaders that they are but men. You see, but then all what we have are cowards. One time, President Moi told me that when I'm speaking to people, you people, Njiru, the Comptroller of State House, the ADC, you think that I'm addressing those people. What I'm telling those people, it must apply to you. Because when the president is talking about humility, I want you to be humble, serve the people. We think that you're telling those people there. Those people are hoi polloi. He's not telling them, he's telling us, although he's facing that direction. The problem we have is because we are cowards. Latif thinks he's just a broadcaster, a journalist. He thinks reading a revolution is not his role. Muga thinks that is a job of other people. If you make yourself horses, you might as well be ridden.
Kama ni hivyo umejifanya farasi. Sawa basi.
Utapandwa.
Umejifanya punda. Utabeba mizigo yao wenyewe.
Siwendi umejiweka hapo.
Very well said. Thank you, Lee, for joining us today. And thank you for having this conversation with us. Please come again soon.
Asante.
Next time you are coming towards Nairobi, let's plan. You come and ooze wisdom. People
Just let us know when you come.
Commenting and saying,
okay,
oozing wisdom.
Hata ukikuja kusema tu habari. Karibishwa.
Asante, na tukunywe chai.
Kabisa. Lee Njiru, a former press secretary for Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, Mzee Daniel Arap Moi, author of The President's Pressman, a memoir, a book that's available. Please look for it, read it, and get to hear, the days and ways and, the activities of what Lee Njiru saw when he was sitting with those leaders of the country. Thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation. Have a lovely day.
This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.